Okay.
Welcome to You Can't Make This Shit Up. That's David Washington. I'm Joel Hoxley. And we are at the Oxford Sports Pub and Secret Society. And it's a pleasure to be here today. And the subject matter is going to be incredible. Incredible. So David can talk, and then I'm gonna say something.
I would like for Joel to read one of his poems that is related to what we're going to discuss.
So, yeah, absolutely. So in the halls of justice, a decision was made, a ruling that shook the foundation of our trade. The Citizens United case, a name we all know, a Supreme Court decision that dealt a heavy blow. Corporations were given the right to spend as much as they please without any end. To sway elections, to buy their way, to influence policy with no say. Money now more than ever rules the land. A few with deep pockets hold the upper hand. The voice of the people, now drowned out by greed. A democracy threatened by the dangerous deed. But we will not falter, and we will not give in. We will stand and fight until we win. We will demand transparency and end to the game. We will reclaim our power and restore democracy's flame. The Citizens United ruling may have dealt a blow, but we will rise above it and let our voices show. We will fight for our rights, for justice and for truth, for a future that is fair for me, for you, and for youth.
There you go.
Now that's just written like a Democrat. You do know that, right?
I did not know
because like literally I don't believe anything I just said. we don't need to fight. I mean, I'm big on corporations, right?
Right.
I'm a Republican.
Sure. Right. So we bring this up, particularly Citizens United, because in Disney's recent lawsuit against the DeSantis administration, they cite the ruling of Citizens United pretty much giving corporations the right to political speech.
Oh, absolutely.
Or solidifying.
Yeah, I mean
political speech.
Unfortunately, I can't. Like I'm like in awe because here's the Democrats hate this damn.
Right.
Hey, Citizens United is an awful decision. It's an awful decision. Right. Corporations aren't people. Well, yeah, they are. They are. And
that was established back in the 70s.
Once we believe and we start to realize that, now why are we going to infringe on their right to speak about policy? Well, it's going to be ugly.
Is this an unintended consequence of the Citizens United
they always are. They always are.
Yeah.
So I'm going to use just an example, and I go a little far, but not too far. You go into the ballot, you go into cast your ballot. Every single Republican is listed first. Now,
and that's
this is a decision. This is a decision that was made a long time ago when the Democrats ruled. Now it's because whoever the governor is, whatever
Correct.
party the governor is the party that goes listed first.
Correct.
And the Democrats are the ones that put this in place, and they passed it
Here
long time ago.
Here in Florida.
Now they're trying to get it gone because it gives a unfair advantage to the person that's on the ballot first. Well, they knew that when they passed it the first.
Unintended consequences.
Unintended consequences. You can't make this shit up.
Right.
That's what this is. This is
right.
This is perfectly like I just read this the negative way. Now they're probably doing it like, oh, we got to fight that. This is horrible.
Right.
But it's a win. Like it is a win.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, every time Disney has enough lawyers and enough money to do whatever. And I still, the governor's still hampered by all the sunshine laws and everything else. Everything he says, everything he does is you're not in the corporate boardroom. You don't know what you don't know. You don't know what's coming up next.
Exactly. And
you think a JAG attorney for the Navy would have a whole lot less lawsuits against the state. And we pay for this.
Yes, we do. The taxpayers of Florida will pay for this. And
so Disney hates us. They take our tax dollar, they get our money, but they hate us.
Mm-hmm.
Man. Without them, we'd have an income tax. So,
and yeah, I agree. I agree that when Citizens United first came out, or even before then, back in the 70s, when the Supreme Court ruled that corporations are individuals, it was a concept that it was hard to understand, and seeing the influx of those corporate dollars into our politics, a consequence of that particular legislation or that particular decision. Has it made politics good or better or worse? I don't know.
Well, as far as politics,
depending on who you talk to.
Well, let's look at the political thing for a second. The companies were at a disadvantage when it came to political speech because they're up against unions, and unions could say anything they wanted. They could spend their money on, unlimited amounts of money on their stuff, but the corporations couldn't have a say.
And
that's exactly what happened.
That's a very good point. There should be some fairness.
It's like you're the lawyers and you advocate for the people, but you have an advantage over us. We don't want that law because we don't want to spend that extra money, but you want that law and you get to spend all the money in the world to get it there. So it's a fair assessment, and you can't make this shit up. It's now going to be reverse engineered.
Right. And although conservatives, Republicans are trying to scale back unions' ability to raise funds through their memberships and contributions by their workers. By their workers. However, I do agree with the fact that it is fair for corporations to use their voice to advocate for not just their shareholders or their customers or clients, but also their employees. And in this particular situation, Disney here in Florida contributes a lot of money. It's the third largest private employer in the state of Florida, contributes billions of tax dollars directly and indirectly. They have the right to advocate, to make a stance on behalf of their employees and, of course, their shareholders.
Yeah, I mean, we have so many. Like David has introduced me to some of the nicest people in the world. I'm still not a union guy. And I'm not going to talk bad about the unions because they're good people. But I see the conflict there, and I kind of expressed that because that's the whole reason the corporation became a person, is to protect it from the union that was being treated like a person.
Right.
So, as much as I don't know, I got to go to more Republican things because I don't know how to defend this. I don't. Honestly, I really don't. When you talk about what's going on with Disney, and you believe you're a Republican, and you believe that a corporation is a person, and you believe that you need smaller government. I can't believe I'm saying this because every time I turn around, it's like, where did the Republican Party go?
Right.
And I want guests. So don't get me wrong. I want guests.
Right.
And I do want conservative talk on here. And I want to talk more conservative.
Correct.
But I have no conservative topics to dig for. David, you're the one. You're the one who gets you push all these topics out because I can't. Like I look at it and I go, I'm sorry, David. I'm not a Democrat. I'm not a Democrat.
Right.
Right. But I don't know how to defend some things.
Right. And thank you for bringing that up. I scour, news sources for information, what was good and what's not so good for both parties, for all across the political spectrum. And of course, making it, more specific to us. And there's some things that, I have put out there as far as topics that are like, okay, as far as the liberals and the Democrats, like, what the fuck are you thinking?
No, you're absolutely.
You know?
It's so funny because there's so many things that you go, Democrats would have never done this in the past.
Right.
Republicans would have never done this in the past.
And that kind of goes back to what we were saying earlier about the traditional approach. We talked about, what we were learning when we were growing up in school about biology and how our minds are framed in that way. And I look at the parties and in this particular topic, I'm just scratching my head. It's like, what is the end game for the administration when you go after the rights of a corporation to express itself politically?
So let me try to. This is what I think the Republican Party is right now. They were so sick and tired of having the same cookie cutter politicians.
Okay.
It was like, John McCain, he's a moderate. We have to be a moderate because we want to be able to get the independent vote. And it kind of dragged them into a negative spot. All of a sudden, this guy, that Donald Trump, comes along and he talks a totally different game.
Right.
He punches back. That's all the Republicans want. They don't care who it is, as long as they're fighting
and have a better opportunity of winning.
Listen, they do exactly that. They got their wish. They got the Trump elected, and now they got DeSantis reelected. I mean, it must work somehow. But with the Republicans, it works very good.
Yes,
because they don't care about the morals, even though they're Christians. They don't care about the morals of the person. Just as long as the person is sticking his neck out there, beating up on the reporters, and just being an angry.
And so it becomes a sideshow. I mean, really,
it is entertainment.
You took the word.
Politics is entertainment nowadays. Period. It's just like, who's the best actor? Who can get the loudest?
Mm-hmm.
Look, you got to get to the end of Boehner's book. You got to. Like the book.
I need to read. Yeah,
I'm telling you, I don't disagree with Boehner at all.
Right.
Like, when did the conservative become a liberal? Like, the only thing you can pick on him for is he drinks wine constantly. You can't get the glass out of his hand. But he's a wonderful. I mean,
it's a very good book, and I really enjoyed it. And I need to pick it up again because I did set it down as we got busy. But however, I couldn't believe how understanding how the sausage is made, what's going on in the background, and also where he's coming from, his background, his experience, and what he brings to the whole experience really enlightened me in regards to how difficult this is and how there's some people who, during his time as speaker, were there just to disrupt and destroy.
Oh, they're still there, though.
And they're still there.
The ones he mentioned are still there.
Still there.
And those are the people that I just don't get. like Ron Paul, I like him.
Okay.
He's a libertarian.
Yeah.
I like him. He's a little extreme on things.
Sure.
But Jim Jordan, I can't. I just don't get why he's a little angry man.
I don't get it either.
But he entertains and he gets the
Right.
popularity because he's doing it.
And there was a particular, I think out of South Carolina or North Carolina, a representative who was just elected who went on social media and said, hey, this is all performative. I mean, performative anger. And these folks, after, when the cameras are off, they're not like this. They're
like you and me.
anger, right? The anger is made up. And you know something, when they were having the debate over the new speaker, and we were going days and days.
Oh yeah.
Finally, the House Republicans voted in McCarthy. When they allowed the cameras to be in the
Control of the actual house,
watching the whole process, and seeing how, AOC talking with Getz, and I'm like,
Yeah,
what's this all about?
but that's because they
and
allowed CNN. I mean, they let
C-SPAN.
C-SPAN
Right.
actually control the cameras.
Mm-hmm.
See, now technically, when you watch
C-SPAN,
when you watch C-SPAN, it's all controlled by the House,
right?
All controlled by the Senate.
Right.
That camera doesn't move
And
most
to
of the time.
see, right, and to see the
Actual production.
exactly and how the representatives interact.
But we know they do that.
Mhm. Yeah.
We see that all the time. And there was a post you commented on about the Democrats where they're dancing down the middle of the aisle. I mean, come on,
man.
let's do the hokey pokey and you turn yourself around. That's what it looked like.
And at first I thought it was a video from back in 2002. I read it. I was laying in bed just relaxing, and I read it incorrectly. It was May 2nd of 2023. I was like, wait, what? Wait a second. Why are they dancing in the aisle when they're screaming hair on fire that our rights are being taken away, but they're dancing? That's you, Representative Escamani. That's you, Representative Rita Harris, dancing. But on the flip side, you're telling everyone, oh my God, the Republicans are tearing down the House, burning down the House. We need to do something. You all should be barricading yourselves in the chamber.
Finding something that you can actually pass. Because there are a lot of things that you could work with the Republicans on and get passed.
Right.
Instead of dancing down the middle of the aisle.
And it took me a while to take this in. I paused before I reacted and paused before I posted because I wanted to make sure I was actually watching what I was watching, seeing what I was seeing. And also I wanted to see who was not line dancing. And I saw Representative Joanna Lopez
Yep.
off standing next to her desk and just kind of like all by herself. I was
Yeah,
like,
I thought it was funny because I did the same thing. Anything that comes from Jay in Washington, it's just like controversial. It's going to be David, but it was like I agreed with you. I was like, really? And this is a group of people that can't get any legislation other than recognition days and stuff like that. I
right.
mean, what are those?
It was very disappointing to see that, and with everything this legislative session has promoted and characterized by the Democrats and liberals. I was like, well, it seemed like you all were celebrating it, and
you can't come back. You can't come back down here. You can't make this shit up. You can't come back down here and tell your constituents that you were fighting for them. And all of a sudden, one of them says, "Looks like you were celebrating the fact that the Republicans won everything."
Exactly. And my comments are lame compared to the comments of other people. And then someone said, well, the Republicans were playing a certain song before the session started. Who cares what they were doing? They got their agenda taken care of. What did the Democrats do? What did they get their agenda taken care of? No.
When you do your sit-ins and all these other things, they're all for show because guess what? They don't accomplish anything.
Right. If this
And
is
now
what
you've
you
lost.
do to disrupt, I'm not for it. I'm old school. This is how you disrupt. This is not how you show solidarity.
It's just like
I
people
just don't
with,
get it.
It's just like people with money, and they go out there and get a bunch of people to go with them, and you can afford to get out of jail. They can't, but you know, you didn't make any money.
And unable to fundraise off of it.
Yeah. So this is just another one that I mean I laugh because I'm in the right party, but we just sometimes we're doing the wrong thing.
And that's why Republicans win. The optics of this.
We understand.
Who thought this was a good idea?
Listen,
And DeSantis,
there's cameras everywhere.
right? Cameras, microphones everywhere. There's some things that I do that I know, oh my God, I know there's a camera. But come on, people. And DeSantis, you and your people, who is telling you this is a good idea? You are doubling, tripling, quadrupling down on this Disney thing. They have the right to criticize.
I would have let it go. Like I would have let it go. I mean, really, it's not. The policy is just a parental rights. It's not. It's because it was getting too much publicity, I guess. I mean, because it never got called what it was supposed to be.
Right.
You guys who had a winning tagline for it. The bill they're now in the media. It's the bill known as "Don't Say Gay."
Yeah.
But this all starts because they had their CEO was when you have a population that comes to you and says you need to stand up to the governor, and enough of your employees do that, and your union does that, and you don't understand the bill, yeah, you see how that comes out.
Right.
It could have come out anywhere, but if they had come out on DeSantis' side, there'd be none of this. Not Reedy Creek would still be. That's what they're saying.
correct.
They're saying that this is just vindictive.
Retaliation.
And you read the lawsuit. I mean, you really listen.
And-
That's a fun read.
Right. It was an enjoyable read. Yes, it was.
Because they put together. It's
Oh my
like story.
goodness,
It's like story time.
So good.
Yeah, it's like story time. So.
I mean, I 20 years ago, okay, maybe 30, 30 years ago in high school, maybe I would never have thought I would have enjoyed reading a legal brief or lawsuit, and just reading this one, like, damn, I was educated.
I learned a lot.
And the weird thing is that, and this was mentioned in some other podcasts. Shout out to Money, Power, and Politics by Craig Patrick. Reedy Creek is a special district for Disney, and there's other special districts like the Villages. And shout out to Spectrum 13. They interviewed some members of the Villages about do they stand with DeSantis or not in regards to this lawsuit. And a lot of people, some of the people, they said that, this is great for what DeSantis is doing and so forth and so on. And I'm scratching my head. It's like, you guys live in a special district similar to one established for Disney. If you all decide to vote en masse for a Democrat in the next election, that's not going to stop. That may induce DeSantis to say, hey, we're pulling your special district from you. I don't know. You can't make this shit up.
You can't
That's
make
all.
this shit up.
That's all.
But do they really? Do people understand that? I mean,
No, they don't.
Disney understands what they had.
Yes.
They understand what they've lost,
Yes.
and they're going to fight for it.
Yes.
But the Villages,
They don't know.
do they really know that they have a special day? Do they?
No.
They're called the Villages. They're called the Villages for a reason.
Yeah.
It's a senior community. It's like everything. You can drive your golf cart because the rules say you can. Like
Take
it's
that
very
away.
very specific rules.
Take that away.
You know that you can't
Build a
drive it.
prison next to the
You
the
can't
villages.
you can't make this shit up. So,
Right.
but it's conservative and it'll stay conservative.
Yeah. Mhm.
But it's happening. It's gonna happen every time. So to wrap this up, it's
Yes.
like you are correct. Citizens United will now be the defense for or the offense for the Disney, and how we fight something that we actually defended
Right.
will be very interesting.
Indeed. Indeed. Hey, this is You Can't Make This Shit Up. Joel Hawksley, David Washington. We are at the Oxford Sports Pub and Secret Society. Like, share, hit the notification bell, but even more important, visit us on our website, j-washington.com. Leave a comment, email, do whatever you can, but spread the word. We're out of here.
Thanks.